Good afternoon. It is Monday again, which means the house is relatively quiet. I've just dropped Arthur back at school after lunch. I've had a relatively busy morning. I'm not dyeing any yarn today. I didn't have a good night's sleep last night and I'm tired. And I'm just in one of those frames of mind where I know that if I start trying to dye yarn today, it's all going to go wrong. So sometimes it's just better not to even start. But it's fine because I'm in kind of that limbo period at the moment between shop updates, between club orders. So the clubs have all been dyed. I can't start dyeing the clubs for next month yet because the listings haven't gone live, so I don't have any ideas of numbers. Advent wise, I've just ordered. There was a little hitch with ordering the 20 gram minis because they were out of stock, but they came back in stock this morning. So I now have, sitting in my lounge, a box full of 10 gram minis and DK minis, everything that I need for the advent calendars, and hopefully arriving sometime this week, I will have a big box full of 20 gram minis. So that will be all the advent yarn ordered, which is brilliant. I wanted to make sure that it was ordered really early this year because I got very, very lucky last year with all of the shortages and stuff caused by COVID. I literally got my advent yarn order in the week before everything suddenly went out of stock. And I'm doing 50% more advents this year than I did last year. So I needed even more yarn. So it's quite a relief actually to have it all. I'm going to have to find somewhere to put it. That's going to be an issue. I think it might have to go up in the attic just until I can start dyeing it. I've absolutely got no idea where I'm going to store it all. I really don't. And actually, I kind of need it as accessible rather than in the attic because I need to be able to start dyeing up and test running colourways. So I don't know where it's going to go. Anyway, you can help me find a place for it sometime this week, probably. So that's good. I'm glad I've got that ordered. Yeah, that's a big relief. But yeah, so I'm not really dyeing anything today. I have had a little sit down this morning and I've planned out kind of what I'm going to do for the next shop update and what I'm going to be doing for the shows that I'm scheduled for in June, virtual shows. So that helps. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get started dyeing some of those bits and pieces. But today I've just skeined up the Once Upon a Yarn Club. I've made the little stitch markers that go out with the Once Upon a Yarn Club. I was intending to spend some time making the boxes for the Marvellous Minis Club, but I had run out and they weren't supposed to be arriving till tomorrow. Now, typically they've literally just arrived, which means that I was also kind of thinking that this afternoon, seeing as I don't have that much on, I would sit and do some cross stitch. But now these boxes have arrived early. I'm like, well, should I make the most of it and do them now and spend some time making those boxes, or do I carry on with my cross stitch plans? In all honesty, I'm probably going to carry on with my cross stitch plans. But yeah, I've brought out my cross stitch that I'm working on at the moment, and I'm going to sit this afternoon while I have the time to have some time off. I am going to sit this afternoon and do that for a little bit until I have to pick up the kids. What else was I going to say? Comments. Thank you for all of your lovely comments. I am very behind and I've had to kind of just accept that comments from a few days ago might not get a response, so apologies for that. I am trying to keep up with the new comments that are coming in, but yeah, you're all wonderful and I appreciate every single comment and I do read them all. I just don't always get the chance to actually respond, which normally isn't an issue, but this last week has been busy and I just have not had the headspace to respond to all of your wonderful comments. Yeah, that's everything. I think I'm going to sit. I'm going to do some cross stitch. Cross stitch, actually, I was going to say, anyone that has any recommendations for online shops in the UK that I can get kind of bigger cross stitch supplies from. I do my cross stitch just in the old fashioned wooden embroidery hoops, but when you're working with quite a big bit of fabric, it's a bit fiddly and it gets on my nerves. And I've seen people with these kind of clip frames that contain all the fabric. And I'd be really interested in knowing where to get them. I had a little look this morning and I really couldn't find anything anywhere. So if you are a big cross stitcher and you have an amazing website that you get all of your supplies on, then please let me know down below in the comments, because I would be very grateful. I want to up my game. I want to get out of the embroidery hoops and having to try and juggle it and all of that kind of thing. Right, anyway, I really do need to get on with relaxing. I need to get on with relaxing. You know what I mean. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea and then I'm going to carry on with this cross stitch. Now you have to read all the numbers out. 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, Gidy.
You are in the tea cupboard again. What is going on with my jumper? Goodness knows, little things everywhere. And real life in the fact that there's still so much washing up that needs to be done. What am I coming in to say? You're in the tea cupboard for me to come and tell you something. Something exciting, something very exciting. Well, for us anyway. If you've been following our April vlogs, as obviously you have been because you're here and I'm talking to you, can you tell my brain is a little bit scrambled? You'll know that we've been having lots and lots of issues with buying houses and blah, blah, blah. And we went to see a house on Friday, which I didn't tell you about because I kind of had that feeling of, do you really want me to tell you about another house that we're going to go and see and put an offer in on and it doesn't work out and they don't accept our offer and blah, blah, blah. And it's the same story repeating over and over. So I thought, you know what? I'm just not going to say anything. We'll just see what happens. Anyway, we went to see it on Friday. It literally came on the market Friday morning. We got into the estate agents straight away. And we were the first people to view it at 6 o'clock on Friday evening. Obviously, nothing could be done until Monday morning. But we put our offer in first thing this morning. They'd only had chance to have like one other person had put a note of interest in or something like that. And we had also managed to scrape together, having raked over our finances with a fine-toothed comb and taken a little bit more from Gidy yarns than I probably should have done, but we'll fill it back in somehow. We managed to scrape together enough to put in a little bit extra over the asking price than we have been able to recently, looking at what the market's been like. And anyway, all of that rambling to say that they have accepted our offer. So we have had an offer accepted on a house locally. It is a lovely house, actually. And for those of you that have followed my podcast for a long time and my vlogs for a long time, and you'll know that this house that we rent, one of the things we really love about it is the fact that we've got fruit trees in the garden and lots of kind of fruit and things like that in the garden. And it's one of those things we thought we would really miss moving. And most of the places we've looked at hasn't had anything like that. This place has a giant plum tree, or potentially damson tree, in the middle of the back garden. And there are 2 small apple trees as well in the back garden. So just when we saw those, it just felt right. Does that make sense? It's one of those things that we were really going to miss. It's still within walking distance for the school, not as close as we are currently, but nothing can really be as close as we are currently. But yeah, it's still within walking distance from the school. So yeah, all around very positive. We need to have a little bit of something done to sort out office dye studio space, but I was always expecting that to be something we would need to sort out. But it has an integral garage. Is that the right word? And the garage has power, so I'll be able to dye in the garage pretty much immediately, which is brilliant. So yeah, exciting. I need to now sort all the stuff out. And of course, because it's April and it's the end of April, I suddenly need another tax year to be able to apply for the mortgage application. So I had submitted my taxes for 1920. I submitted them last summer. But I now need taxes for 2021 because obviously it's past the tax year. So that's going to be my evening. I am going to spend the evening going through sorting my taxes out with Excel files and bank statements and all of that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, exciting, terrifying. Let's hope it doesn't implode like last time. But yeah, finally, it felt like a long slog. It was a long slog to save the money for a mortgage in the first place, and then to have everything fall through in December. Before December, in kind of October, November time, and to then really have struggled having, built up the deposit again and all of that kind of stuff, and then to really have struggled to even have offers accepted in the first place. It's felt like a long journey to get to this point, and fingers crossed that it doesn't all implode again this time, but we'll see. Anyway, I need to get on with taxes and I need to block the garment. I put it into soak earlier, the baby vertebrae, but I've not blocked it yet, so I need to get that done.
Hello and welcome to Book of the Day. Actually, Book of the Day today is not a book, but a series of books. So today I have chosen Iain M. Banks's Culture series, Culture novels, as it says there, a culture novel. Almost focused. That was brilliant. Iain Banks wrote lots of real stories, but he also wrote lots of science fiction stories with the name Iain M. Banks. And generally, I've only read a couple of his normal books, and generally I find his science fiction much more enjoyable for me. Iain Banks's science fiction is it's really really richly rendered, I guess is the best way to put it. It's a really intricate kind of high-end kind of science fiction stuff. So it's not for the faint of heart. It kind of jumps straight in to kind of proper kind of hardcore kind of tech speak in places, but his prose is really kind of robust and really really engrossing. As a theme of the books I like is this engrossing prose, apparently. So the kind of culture, the kind of concept is kind of thousands and thousands and thousands of years in the future, or perhaps some kind of really developed kind of fictional place. Incredibly high level of technology, artificially intelligent spaceships, and technology can kind of get you anything you want, and the culture has emerged as this kind of hedonistic, free, libertarian, kind of interplanetary society. And yeah, you can kind of do what you want within the culture, and you can kind of swap your gender and stuff however you want, and so it's really interesting kind of world that he's called universe that he creates, and then tells these really kind of big, kind of large scale kind of space opera type stories. So I'd really recommend it. I mean, there is a like an order to them, but I don't think the order really matters. I've jumped around within them. So consider Phlebas is the first one, but I've since then jumped around in all kinds of different orders. So one of my most recent ones I've read is Accession, which is really interesting. So it's kind of focused on the giant spaceships. So the spaceships they're kind of artificially intelligent, and they're kind of they're like gigantic, huge, great big things like the size of moons, and the minds that run them are like not very, they're just really kind of disinterested in petty humanity. And Accession's really interesting because it's based around a lot of the spaceships. And it also deals with this idea of the outside context problem, which is the idea of something beyond the kind of three-dimensional space that kind of appears and causes lots of ruckus within the galaxy. So yeah, that's Iain M. Banks's Culture books. I'd highly recommend you try at least one of them if you like science fiction stuff at all, or if you just like good, engrossing, robust prose, then yeah, enjoy reading these. That's book of the day for today.